All right, let's bring in House Oversight Committee Chairman, Kentucky Congressman, the great James Comer. Congressman, good to see you. Listen, you understand the threat of China. We understand the threat of China. But when you have a rising military and economic power that is China, that's trying to dethrone the U.S. in both categories, it's troubling that you could potentially have a vice president of the United States who has such a fond place in his heart for the communist country that he should be actually very concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, look, I went to Jamaica on my honeymoon. I've never heard of anyone going to China. At the end of the day, as you all know, China steals our intellectual property. They steal our patents. They fund disinformation campaigns. They try to divide our democratic government. They do everything they can to harm everyday Americans, whether you're a working class American, whether you own a small business, whether you're just someone that just wants to go and vote and live in a free democratic society. China is a threat to every way, shape, and form of our everyday lives. And to see how fond of China is that Harris is picked for vice president it's troubling to me, and it should be troubling to every American.
Well, wouldn't it if you look at his agenda and when he running Minnesota and putting priority of putting tampons and maxi pad machines in boys' bathrooms in schools, or making sure that abortion is legal up until the moment of birth, that's really what communist China wants to inflict on America, is change somebody who doesn't govern for the whole of the nation.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his record. We talk about being weird, requiring boys' bathrooms in public schools to have tampon dispensers. I mean, that's pretty weird. But you look at his record on crime, and that to me is the most concerning. He allowed Minneapolis to burn down during the riots. He waited to call the National Guard in until it was too late. I mean, this guy's a soft on crime guy. He's a guy that's worried about offending people, worried about being politically correct. He's somebody that's embraced excessive criminal justice reform that allows people that carjack and steal and commit most crimes to walk scot-free. This isn't what we need in America. We have a huge crime issue in our big cities. And if you look at the big cities in his state, they were ground zero for excessive crime, out of control crime. So I don't think that Kamala Harris's pick for vice president should ease any of our concerns about excessive crime, about a lack of border security, or a lack of doing something to prevent the fentanyl from coming into the United States. Walz has failed in the crime category as governor. He's soft on China. He's been dishonest about his military record. These are things that should concern every voter this November.
What America that's confused, divided, with the people that are separated only helps China, doesn't strengthen America, and that's what these policies have done. But let's shift gears to this, because after the Biden-Harris administration continually stifled record requests by the committee you chair, which is the House Oversight Committee, regarding the State Department's Office of the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate and its activities, you're now looking to interview John Podesta, the Biden administration's new top climate diplomat who took over for John Kerry, about his role and the work that he's been doing in the office. And so, Congressman, where are you in this investigation? Because I do think the American people have a right to know what the heck is going on with these climate envoys, and what's their messaging, what's their funding, what are they actually doing? Let's expose it. Where are you in the investigation?
Well, we're still trying to get information. We've requested this information. We have issued subpoenas for things with respect to this office dating back to when John Kerry was the climate czar, or whatever you want to call it. We don't know anything about it. We don't know what policies they have. We don't know what responsibilities they have. We don't know what authority they have. We really don't know what their true budget is. And this is something that, unfortunately, a lot of members in our conference didn't take seriously when we were trying to go to the appropriator saying, look, this is something in the budget we need to highlight and figure out where the money's going to whatever. So hopefully we'll have better luck this next budget cycle in our conference trying to hold people accountable. But this is an office that concerns me, because we saw John Kerry. Now we're seeing Podesta go to foreign countries communicate with foreign leaders, particularly China. And of course, China wants us to have a Green New Deal. Of course, China wants us to not have burn fossil fuels or have gasoline vehicles. They want to do everything they can to hurt our economy. And we've got people in these climate czar positions that are going negotiating climate policy. We have no idea what their policy is or what authority they actually have.
Amen. All they've done is empower, embolden, and enrich nations that want to wipe the United States off the map. China, Russia, Iran. In the name of climate, excuse me. Congressman James Comer, thank you so much.